Well, hello, friends. Mark Holmes.
I'm a grown ass man. See, I'm a grown ass man. Grown ass man. Hey everybody, King Dingbat here. I'm in my garage with a cigar. It's only a candy cigar because my wife won't let me smoke one after I put that big fat head up in our bedroom. Let's get rid of that. At this point, I'd be happy for Dak to be playing for somebody else. And my team stinks. I agree. Stinks.
They laugh about us. We're a disgrace. We suck.
I am now Philly 500's bitch.
Dallas still stinks. Yo, by doing? King Dingbat here, and today I have a very, very special guest. My man, Jimmy Smith from On the Road to Victory. What is going on, my man? Thank you so much for joining us. What's happening?
Dude, what a pleasure it is to be here. My man, Philly 500. It has been a few weeks in the making, but we're here ready to rock and roll, dude. So thank you for having me on, man.
Oh, man, anytime. For those that haven't seen his channel, link is in the description. Go sub him up. Check him out. He's fantastic with cap and schemes and the real details of the game that sometimes you may miss with me because I'm too busy yelling and screaming about whatever. So yeah, man, thank you for being here today. And what's going on, everybody in chat? George B. Well, GG Meta, Taylor, Daz, Junior, Eagles Nation, Big Play Slay. What's happening? What's going on, everybody? Eagles are in training camp, and before we get into all that, I have to know, because I always like to know, how did you become an Eagles fan?
Oh man, from birth, came out the womb bleeding green, man. My whole family's from Philly. I actually was not born there. I was born a couple hours away. When I was 18, I ended up moving back. I needed it because literally my grandfather, my father, my brother, they're all just as insane as I am. This is where I got it from. So diehards through and through. My grandfather used to work at Connie Mack Stadium. So, I mean, it's just been something that we have always had that bond. And when my father passed, like, we wore our Eagles jerseys to his funeral. Like, that's how insane we are. So since birth, my man.
Yeah, me too. I was born into it. Family's all from the area. So, yeah, man, that's good. That's good. Sometimes you don't know, because there's a lot of Eagle fans that never, and I've learned this with YouTube, and you probably learned it too. I have a lot of guys around the country, the world, that are Eagle fans. So,
how about it?
It ain't too bad.
Germany.
I mean, these are the smart ones. Yeah, Germany, UK, Yeah, unfortunately, you get a lot of Cowboy fans from all over the place, but they're just brainwashed. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
So what did you think as a whole? What did you think about this all season for the Eagles?
Oh, baby, I was enjoying every second of it. Last year, I knew we had a lot going on with the Carson Wentz, all that stuff. So, it was going to be an uphill battle. Talked about bumpy roads last year, but to stay patient because of the amount of cap space and the draft picks that we had. You had mentioned something about the cap. It's something I always try to point out every year because there's always a lot of misinformation there. So I try to show everyone that we had a lot of room to make some moves, maybe trade for a big name wide receiver, maybe sign someone like Hassan Reddick, draft someone like Jordan Davis. So those were the things I focused on. How Howie Roseman could set this team up for success, especially Jonathan Gannon and Jalen Hurts, because those two, in most people's minds are on the hot seat because, there is a lot to go into what they are doing. Jalen Hurts has a lot to grow, and, we're all behind him, but we all know he has some things to grow with, so that's fine. Yeah. Now, the defense, I felt last year some great ideas with all the multiple schemes, the odd fronts we were running, but the personnel was lacking. So my question always was, if you don't have the personnel, why are you running the scheme?
That's what worries me about Jonathan Gannon. That is one of the big things.
Yes. So I hear you. And we were talking briefly before this started, we're going to talk about Gannon here coming up, but that was something that, very questionable. What the hell are you doing? So I thought, look, this guy's a very bright mind. There's a reason the Texans, the Broncos reached out to him about being the head coach. This dude knows what he's doing. It's just, I didn't understand why we didn't have that personnel, and we're trying to do those things. Just stick to a 4-3 if you don't have a nose tackle. The Sam linebackers, Jannard Avery. It was very lacking. Your inside linebackers are Alex Singleton, and TJ Edwards progressing through the year. So it was whew. But this year, so
Yeah.
we go out. We get that nose tackle in Jordan Davis. We get the Sam linebacker and Hassan Reddick. We get the 2 middle linebackers in Kaiser White and Kobe Dean in the draft. Holy shit, what a steal. Upgrade over Steven Nelson to James Bradbury, and then add Jaquiski Tart, Marcus Epps, looking good. So this defense all revamped. I thought Howie Roseman went out and did everything that I literally tried to map it out and was like, this is how I will be okay with everything Howie is doing this offseason, because everybody, on his ass, and he went out and did those things. And it's like, okay. Now he did his part. It's up to the coaches and the players to do theirs.
Yeah. I'll tell you straight up. I was getting a little worried. You signed Hassan Reddick on the first day, and then it kind of got quiet for a while, right? You got Zach Pascal, but it was still quiet. And it was early. I fully admit it was early. But you keep hearing, oh, they're trying to get Russell Wilson. Oh, Deshaun Watson. You're going, what the hell? They're taking Kenny Pickett out to dinner for what? It's like, what is going on here? And then all of a sudden, boom, the draft comes and you make you trade. As soon as they traded one of those first-round picks, you knew what they were kind of doing. But then when the A.J. Brown trade hit, to me, that changed everything in a lot of people's minds, including myself.
Dude, I was ready to run through that effing wall. I mean, it was like, look, this is what he needs to do, but the fact that he did it was like, wait, what? I just thought, holy shit, this guy actually went out, knew what he needed to do. Look, I've been missing on wide receivers. I'm trading for one. I'm going to give him the money we've got for the future. Let's go. So it's like, what just happened, dude? So I love it, man. I'm very thrilled about the direction of this. And I hear what you're saying. It was slow at first, but I try to tell people, look, be patient here. There's no trades coming, because the media with their damn misinformation, that's where we come in and change the game. It's like, look, we're going to talk to people about what's happening. So I try to break down everything that was going on. And it was like, look, I do have some inside sources that feed me a little bit. And it's like, people were losing their mind, and I was like, just stay patient. Bradbury, when I heard that was coming, I was ready to punch myself in the face. It felt so good, because it's like you can't believe all this is happening this offseason. So, dude, it was just like a party all offseason. I love it.
And you know what? Like the way they went about it too. I mean, if you look at the moves that they made, it's not like this is a team that is trying to win everything this year. They're really set up for years to come. That's the genius part of it. It is.
That's a great point.
Yeah, Joey Shakes. Oh my God, I love the thumbnail. Hell yeah, we suck. Go Cowboys. Come on now, Cowboys. Yeah,
I love what you said there, man. And you said about you being set up for the future. Next year, the cap, we're actually kind of in the negative right now, but the TV deals, everything, the cap will go up. We'll roll over money. We have like $8.5 million right now. But the next year, we have about $45 million of cap space. That's how we were able to get A.J. Brown. You give big signing bonus, small cap hit the first year. You could do that with someone like a Jesse Bates still. So you're talking about the future. You still are building here. 2 first-round picks next year, 2 seconds the next. Dude, set for the future. I love that, man.
They really are. I mean, because a lot of people see the moves and they go, oh, well, you got A.J. Brown, you got all these guys. It's for 1 year. But you look at a guy like A.J. Brown, he just turned 25. He's here for a while. You know what I mean? So, dude, it's awesome. BMO, careful, man. Welcome to Dingbat Nation, buddy. Thank you for joining.
My man, BMO.
Yeah, BMO's great. Sydney family, thank you for Super Chasers. Howie, listen, laugh out loud. Listen, I have my problems with Howie. Now, I have gone off on Howie Roseman before. I am back and forth, and I said 3 good drafts, and I will put a suit and a tie on, and I will do an official apology video.
So one more.
I need one more good draft, we're good to go.
I love it, brother.
Yeah, but it was a crazy all season, especially in that beginning, because I wouldn't have thought so much about or get worried about what they're doing for agency if the rumors about the quarterback situation wasn't out there so much. That was what was brutal. Yeah. But I think the Eagles did the right thing. They did the smart thing, and now they're in a situation with Jalen Hurts. And I think the guy has a great future ahead of him. I think that he just needs time to develop. And if we wait with him, I think we'll be okay. What are your thoughts on Hurts?
huge Jalen Hurts fan. I got a lot of hate all of last year for just saying that word you said right there. Just
Right.
give him some time to develop, man. It's
Right.
his first year as starter. I made a post about the first 19 starts of his compared to Josh Allen. And I even put in that post, this is not to say that Jalen Hurts has the same abilities or is the same person as Josh Allen. My only point is players get better because his numbers are all better, Jalen Hurts, than Josh Allen.
Right.
So it's like, look, everybody just stay patient. We have no idea what's coming, but what I do know is Jalen Hurts is the hardest working dude I've ever seen in my life. I had on his trainer, his chef. I had everyone I could last year to try to get everyone else to see what I was hearing. This guy is an animal. So he's been doing all that. This offseason, he went and did it again, above and beyond to get better at what he knows he needs to. And that's what any young quarterback would do. I don't understand. I think because what you said earlier, all of those quarterback rumors really just added more weight onto him. But what I love about him is he's the epitome of what we want in Philadelphia. This blue collar, hard note. This dude's going to go out and he's going to work. He doesn't care. He welcomes the challenge, whereas the last guy quit as soon as he saw the challenge. So,
he bailed on us, man. That pissed me off so bad.
Yep, and Hurts is the complete opposite, man. So I love the kid,
he really
and I'm behind him. I got to slap him on the back the other day and told him, I was like, "We got your back,
that's
bro."
right. You were at camp. I saw you took a picture with Howie. How was it, man? What was that day like?
Oh my god. So it was insane. First off, getting invited to go, I was like, okay, is this really happened? And then I show up there, and I'm hanging out with one of the players' trainers and their girlfriend. So I'm like, this is insane, right? So I got to act like, I got to be cool, right? I'm not, here, let me get that autograph and picture. Right, I'm just, I'm hanging out. So, but it was awesome. I get to watch it. Unfortunately, didn't have a press pass, so I couldn't record, take pictures, all that. But I got the experience. It was awesome. The whole hour and a half talking to somebody who trains these guys and really getting the input on the offensive and defensive line, everything you could, and then some. And then afterwards, the players come over and I'm just hanging out and I'm like, oh, hey, how you doing? I felt like a little boy, dude, just sitting there hanging out with these guys. They're like, oh, yeah, like just the guy I'm with, they just assume I'm cool. So, hey, I'm standing there while everybody's getting autographs. At one point, I grabbed the lady's phone. I'm like, hey, you want me to take that picture? Took a picture of her with Isaac Samos. She's like, thank you, sir. I'm like, I'm nobody. But it was such an amazing experience. And I felt like I was a kid again watching A.J. Brown. It felt like it was T.O. there. Dude, I was in heaven, but I was keeping it cool. And then they're leaving. And I'm like, hey, is it cool if I stay like by myself for a little bit? They're like, oh, yeah, you're good. You got your band on, your whatever. I was like, all right, nice. I turn around, dude. There's Howie Roseman. And I'm like, bro, this is your shot. So I walk right over and I'm like, Howie. I just point right at him and he's like, what the fuck? Like, who's this? And
right.
I walk up and I shake his hand. I'm like, I don't know if you remember me. And I was in a wheelchair a few years ago when I first was real sick. And I met him a day after I had my hernia taken off. I still took the trip and that was the worst. Like, I shouldn't have done that, but it was worth it. I meet Howie, I shake his hand. I tell him one day I'm getting out of this chair and I'm going to be working with you. So got out of the chair. So I get to tell him that the other day. And I said, now I'm working on getting to that level where I work with you. And he was like, oh, okay. Like kind of just, at first was like, whatever, dude. But then I started talking to him. I was like, look, this is what I broke down with the cap, blah, 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 blah. And he was like, oh, shit. Like, okay, this guy kind of knows what he's talking about. So I ended up standing there with Howie Roseman for like almost 5 minutes just shooting the shit about what he's done this offseason. It was insane. And I was like, dude, we've been on you for certain things. And, we all make mistakes. I was like, but you did fantastic. And I can't thank you enough, dude, for the joy you have brought and the joy that is about to come for the future. And I wasn't going to ask because I didn't ask a single player, anyone for a picture or anything. And I was like, dude, you better ask him. Then I was like, dude, can we take a picture? He was like, oh, of course. And I was like, dude. So I had to get the pic with Howie, man. Awesome. It was nuts. It was really the whole ride home. I was like, did that just happen to me? Like that happened, right? Like it was cool, man. Thanks for asking. It was an awesome time.
I saw the pictures. That's awesome, man.
Yeah, and Britton Covey, I liked him, George. That's a great question. That's somebody I like a lot. And I saw him there. I was watching him like a hawk, a little guy, man. He was like up to here on me, but he was out there whooping ass. And I have high hopes that he makes it as that sixth receiver.
Now, he had a good practice today from what I was hearing. Yeah. George, thank you for super chat. He said, do y'all see Britton Covey looked on his routes? The guy's going to be a player on this year. I think he makes this roster. It'd be interesting. I mean, I think if he's got to make it on special teams, though, right? As a returner. That's
right? You got to win that return specialist job and prove you can be that depth at wide receiver because that's something I talked about on my show. Is like if we keep 6, because you got Pascal and Reagor as 4 and 5, and then he's got to battle Greg Ward and some other guys. So it's going to be an interesting battle this offseason.
Yeah, it really is. What do you think about the Rager situation? I mean, do you think that he possibly could get traded before the start of the season?
I think he could. And, one of the things I've stressed this offseason, because, 95% of the fan base wants him gone, is one thing you brought up in the beginning, the cap, man. I'm always looking at the numbers because that means everything. So, when you're looking at that, if you were to cut him, you have a $6 million dead money hit, and then it's $2 million in cap. So that's $8 million you're paying for a guy that isn't playing. You're not doing that. You're going to find out what he is in his third year before you do that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's out of the equation. Now, he has been looking good. When I was there, he looked pretty good. Today, apparently had another good day. So his stock's going up. So maybe you give this kid another opportunity to go play somewhere else. As a first-round pick, you're not going to be giving him that big money. So I really think a new change of scenery would help him. But, dude, imagine if this kid just pans out a little bit and you've got A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, Quez Watkins, him, and Zach Pascal. Holy shit. That would be one of the best receiving corps in the game. So I'm hoping that he pans out. Yeah, for sure. And to ask about the trade, man, it would only cost us $1 million in dead money and $1 million on the cap hit. So that's only $2 million total that it would cost you. So a trade would make sense. You cut ties, maybe you get a 7th round pick, something. You just say, hey, best of luck to you. We've got receivers here.
Yeah, I'm a little bit of a conspiracy theorist. So I think to myself, the guy had a bad day. Supposedly, everybody was tweeting out they had a bad day. He gets mad, tweets something, then deletes it. Then the next few days, he has a great practice. What if Howie's going to these media reporters, building him up on purpose, so that way they start tweeting it and putting it out there, and then teams around the league start watching, and his stock goes up, and then you trade him.
Well, I love what you're saying. He is, and I love that. But what I can say to the other teams, if you're listening, I was there the other day, and the first thing I saw was Jalen Hurts throw a rocket bomb to Jalen Reagor, which he caught for a touchdown. And, dude, I was like, oh, shit, what's happening today? I was like, I'm bringing that good juju, baby. So that I hope his stock goes up or he pans out whatever way, man. I just hope he keeps getting better,
Yeah, I agree. What's up, S. Marie DeBooth? How are you?
What up?
We got over 200 people in the chat. If you guys haven't, click the link in the description. Go sub up my man. You're not going to be disappointed. Great content. And he knows his stuff, and he really breaks it down in a way you can understand it. So you definitely want to check him out. Speaking of contracts, I kind of want to go back to Jalen Hurts for a second, because one of the things is do you think, let me ask you this way, do you think that they have to make a decision on him this year? Like, they can't afford to go one more year with him. They have to either extend him or move on.
Ooh, that's a great question. Because there's so many moving pieces here where you look at this team, you talked about being set for the future, even with Jalen Hurts, situation going on. You built around him. That was my stressor this offseason. We don't need Deshaun Watson and Russell Wilson. We need all the other pieces we talked about, and then we find out what Jalen Hurts is. If not, you move on, whatever. But I think Jalen Hurts, man, you've now set him up with this defense, the weapons. I mean, you now have to see what he is. So this year, I think, is big for him, his second year as starter. And I think the Eagles, man, they always are, real keen on making moves. So for him, I think the one thing is he's got Gardner Minshew behind him, too, who is a starting caliber quarterback. Now, I think Hurts is better, and I think he has a way bigger upside. And I think we're going to see that this year. But if anything were to happen, you have Gardner here. You have 2 first-round picks next year, 2 seconds the next year. You have all this ammo, this cap, you have so much that you could go out, trade for someone. You could draft someone. You could do whatever your heart desires. So it's nuts for Jalen Hurts that he's got all of this chatter and all this stuff on his shoulders and in his head. But I think it's just making him better. And that's insane to me. But I think this year, if he goes out and he were just to be decent and didn't look like he developed, even if he were just decent, I think they move on. He has to show development this year. I think this team is stocked, and they know it, and we could be Super Bowl bound here sooner rather than later. So if Jalen Hurts' development, is not going as planned, dude, they could trade midseason. These dudes are nuts. So I really think that, it's definitely in the back of his mind. He knows that this team, they look what they did to Carson Wentz. They gave him money and then traded him. So this dude knows, like, oh, shit, I didn't even get my money yet. So it's a possibility for sure.
Yeah. Now, do you think, and I think I know what you're going to say here, but just because people always ask me this, you think it's a stat thing? He has to have a certain number of touchdown passes to interceptions to yards, or you think it's an eye thing? What do you think he needs to do to secure being the franchise quarterback?
Love you, dude. Great questions. I think that honestly, that is seriously a beautiful question because what people are holding on to is things like that, the stats, the things. Oh well, Bobby from StatsMuse told me. They also told you Nikolai Jokic is better than Joel Embiid.
Well, that's
so.
Crazy.
I just think numbers are cool, man, and I'm somebody that knows numbers and love to use that kind of stuff. But you have to take it with a grain of salt. You have to mix actual sports into these things, right? I just think that. Man, people are really, they get dude, I appreciate this guy. Fly Eagles Fly. Hey, I'm going to keep bringing that energy to you, my man. Thank you,
He loves
dude.
the energy. Yeah,
all of you guys.
Awesome, man.
Sorry, but anyways, shit. What was the question again?
What does Jalen Hurts have to do to secure?
Sorry. Yeah, so the stats. Dude, look, and people like Dan Cilio are going to say, like, oh, if he doesn't have 350 yards. No. What I see is just like last year when I said, you cannot have this kid throwing the ball 30 plus times. And it's due to the fact that you have the best offensive line in the game and some pretty damn good running backs. So run the damn ball. They finally started doing that. They find success, become the number one rushing attack at the end of the year. So it's like, what? You should have been doing that all along. That's great. Now, Jalen Hurts needs to keep developing, as we said. Now, my thing is Nick Sirianni needs to open up this playbook. We need to see more plays, more deep threats, not just the slants, the crossers, easy throws, the wheel routes, all that. I want to see some real throws, baby, corner routes, all that stuff. And, Jalen Hurts, I think, has the ability to do that. And, people talk, he doesn't have a strong, whoever made that up is high as hell because the dude actually had a higher velocity than Justin Herbert at the pro days or whatever. So look, this dude, people are sleeping on what he can do, and he knows he has to work on things. And I think for him, not having to learn a new system the first time since he was 16, 17 in high school is going to be huge. So he's got the same system, same coaches, and now he's got the best offensive line, running backs, wide receivers. So for me, he doesn't have to go out and throw for 350 a game. He could throw for 150, 200. It's as long as this rushing attack is running for 200, 250 yards, and this defense is smacking people in the mouth. Now, we were 31st in the league last year with 29 sacks, unacceptable. That's why you revamp this line, everything. Now this defense, you can rely on them pounding that rock, slowly bleed the other team out. I think this team, people, he'll just be a game manager. And it's like, bro, if he manages to win us a Super Bowl, I'm perfectly fine with that. So manage what he can do, accentuate to his skill sets. This dude, I remember being a kid when we drafted McNabb, people are booing, and I'm like, this dude's awesome. He can throw and run. That is a good thing. A dual threat quarterback is not a bad thing. I don't understand where that came from, but if you keep building on this kid's skill set, I think we have some special things coming our way.
Now, do you think they're 50-50 pass ratio, Ron? What do you think it's going to be? Because I'm thinking it's going to be a little more pass this year than run.
Definitely. And you saw last year it was 51% running, 49% passing. We ran the ball most out of any team in the league, and we were the number one rushing attack because of it. But you said it right there. And I think, not only so many different things you're going to see this year, but with that offense, man, the play action because of A.J. Brown being in this wide receiving core is going to be off the chain. And when you have the number one rushing attack, dude, that's going to keep people on their toes. I love when people are like, oh, A.J.'s going to hate it here. They run the ball. I'm like, the Titans don't run with Derrick Henry. Am I?
Yeah, that's what they
like.
Did.
What? It's
exactly.
I don't get it, man. But I think this offense is going to flourish. But I see more passes too, man. Open that playbook.
And I guess defensive coordinators throughout the league now have a year of tape on him. They're going to watch that Tampa, and they're going to probably figure. I'm assuming the game plan is going to be stop him from running and make him beat you with his arm. Make him make the throws, right? So if he takes that jump this year, I think you got to give him the extension. You got to do it.
I would. As a second rounder too, right?
Yeah, I love that they went out and got A.J. Brown because I didn't want to be in a position where we go into next year and we're debating, did he have enough weapons? Did they give him enough? They gave him everything he needed. It's either sink or swim now,
Yep. 100%.
I love it.
Man.
Yep.
And I agree with you.
Yeah. Sydney family, thank you for the super chat, man. He says, Mulata and Dillard concussed how? They got them big bubble helmets on.
Yeah.
Both of them still got concussions.
I was there, and they looked fine, and we're talking to people after. I don't know. I think they're just being very precautious with these guys because I saw Devontae go right back out, and he was out today. And
he was out today too. Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
It's training camp. Let's just
I
be.
love Devontae Smith.
Oh yeah, I bought his jersey the day we drafted him.
Did you?
Yeah,
I tell people
so,
that I think he's going to lead the team in receptions and receiving yards.
For sure.
Because
I think so too. I think AJ opens it up for him.
Yeah, exactly.
The Anquan Bolden, Larry Fitzgerald combo is what it reminds me of.
That's a great. The
route running, the yak guy, and then the other just monster that runs you over. And I'm not saying they're on that level yet. I'm just saying, when you look at it, it's just that combo of two different receivers that, they complement each other well.
Here's a question for you. Greatest receiver duo of all time. Now, only go back on what you saw, because I hate going back to guys I never watched.
Randy Moss, Chris Carter.
Yeah, that's pretty good. Yeah. I would say. Now, what about for the Eagles?
Oh man, it's
a tough one, right? I would
Torrey
say
Smith, Alshon Jeffrey.
Yeah, right.
Super Bowl.
No. Torrance Small and Trojan. No. Yeah, no.
Torrance Small and Johnson, dude.
Remember that?
I really love that combo. I thought you were gonna hit me with James Thrash and Todd Pinkston for a second there, but now we had some tough years, man, growing up, and there were some later years. Where I got excited because my dad always, I loved Harold Carmichael and, Tommy McDonald. Right. You got to hear about all these receivers. And I'm like, who the fuck is James Thrash? I remember him from the Redskins or Commanders, actually. So, I mean, there were some tough days. Poor Donovan, man. Never gave him a receiver till T.O. finally. T.O. with anyone would be my favorite duo for the Eagles.
Right. That's true.
Man, what a beast he was. I did enjoy Freddie Mitchell's time here. He wasn't that great, but I loved his energy and everything.
I'd have to go Macklin, Deshaun.
Of course.
But man, I also liked Fred Barnett, Calvin Williams. And I remember Mike Quick and Chris Carter before he left to go to Minnesota.
Yeah. Now my dad told me about those ones. Now, Deshaun and Macklin would definitely be mine because I have both their jerseys. Deshaun Jackson, dude, it was the funniest story. I used to drink heavily. And at that time I was real young and I was at a party and we were watching the draft. And I remember it was getting close and we picked at 49, I believe. And at 47, we picked as well. We took Trevor Laws, I believe it was, from Notre Dame. And then at 48, Washington came up. I'm like, you motherfucker, don't you do it. Don't you dare. And they went and took a different guy. I think it was like Reed, that tight end. And then we go and we take, or not Jordan Reed, sorry. But it was somebody else. Who cares? But at 49, we take, and I literally sat there with all my friends. I said, I swear to God, if they take Deshaun Jackson, I will call my mom right now and I will tell her I'm going to church tomorrow. And I was trash, dude. Well, we draft him and I'm like, all wasted. I call my mom apparently. Well, the next morning at like 7 a.m., my friends are waking me up. They're like, dude, your mom's here to take you to church. I'm like, what the? So I got to go to church reeking like booze, wearing the same shit I wore the night before, all this Eagles gear. And I'm just like,
see, you're the reason. You're the reason we got Deshaun, though.
Just saying, bro. And I'll always love that dude. I told his mom that story before. Dude, I always have much love for those two. And J-Mac, dude. Oh my God. I really thought we were gonna win with Vic and McCoy. God damn it.
That's a great question. Do you think if the Eagles kept Foles around with Macklin, Deshaun, McCoy, they could have? Because I think they could have won. I really do. Maybe if you don't have Chip Kelly, maybe it works with his style early, but I just hated that they got rid of Foles, man.
Yeah. At the time, I did not like that move. I didn't like any of the moves they were making.
I didn't like that move either.
But for me, when people ask me that question, I always come back to, I don't know, because what's so wild about it is the fact that Nick Foles has never played a full season. And
I know
it's like he came in for us and won that Super Bowl in the postseason with 2 games in the regular. You know what I mean? 3 came in, whatever. But it's like, dude, that's insane what he was able to do. I don't know if he was able to do that, but with those weapons, and who knows if he didn't leave, you can't say he would have gotten hurt if he stayed in Philly. So for me, I think we could have done some special things, and I was pretty pissed off just like you, man. I did not. Dude, he got rid of McCoy for Alonzo. I was like, what the what is this guy doing? Deshaun Jackson was in a gang apparently, so then he was cut.
Totally destroyed any trade value if you wanted to trade him, right? Then he goes to Washington.
Unreal.
And then he kills us every year.
I hated it. Every year it was just like, we're in that ugly 11. I was like, I'm out of here. Every time I was like, I'm out of here. I hated it. I hated it. So great call on the J-Mac D-Jacks, dude. Love those dudes.
I think these guys potentially could be better. I mean, they got to do it over the years, but I think they both have the talent to be the best. I really do.
I
Philly
agree with you.
Eagles-
I think Devontae
Yeah.
Smith's going to be one of the best receivers.
I
in the
do
game.
too. I do too. I'm like, dude, he was one of the 4 guys I wanted in that draft. And
I wrote an article on why we had to draft him, dude.
Did you
that was
really?
the only guy I wanted. I wrote it's awesome. Go look it up, dude. Just put in
I
Jimmy
have
Smith,
to go look it
Devontae
up.
Smith. And I
Yeah.
wrote about all the things they were saying about how he's skinny and he's not the fastest. I don't give a shit. He's the greatest route runner I've seen since Marvin Harrison. He's got hands like you wouldn't believe. I mean, he's phenomenal.
Yeah. Do you think they used him right last year? I feel like they didn't use him enough last year.
I feel that they like kind of tried, but at the same time they had to dial back, and that's what I was kind of inferring earlier with the opening of the playbook, because you didn't have another receiver. I mean, Reagor was supposed to step it up. Quez, did well. He definitely improved, but he had his, miscues for sure. You had a bona fide X receiver in AJ Brown who can play X. He can play Z. He can line up in the slot. It doesn't matter where they're all interchangeable, all these receivers. So defenses are going to be on their ass because you don't know where they're going to line up. You could have the trio set on one side. Dude, this is going to be fun. You could also go into that 13 personnel with one wide receiver and that guy being AJ Brown, who's going to manhandle whoever the corner is. So really excited about it.
Philly Eagles 559. Thank you for Super Chat. Says Cowboy fans should be forced to ride the short bus and have a card they give out that says, "Sorry, I'm a Cowboys fan. I can't understand football." But yeah, well, Cowboy fans are delusional.
They're a different breed.
Oh my gosh, they're the worst. They're the worst. But I'll tell you the one great thing about Cowboy fans is that every year, once December hits, I know they're going to watch their team choke. Yes. And I just sit back and I enjoy it. Cowboys choke season. That's what I call it. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah. It's truly a beautiful time of the year. This is our year. Yeah, sure it is.
Yeah. Ira Mizzle says, my guy, I have a request. If Quez thinks he's the fastest, let's see him prove it when in practice with Miami. Sign a petition.
That's a good one.
I'll sign it. What about Devin Allen, too? I mean, he's a world-class hurdler. He's pretty fast, too. Let him race, I say.
Yeah, throw the 4 of them in there. Waddle, Hill, Allen, and Watkins. Let's do it.
Yeah.
Love it.
Oh, my gosh. Yeah, that'd be awesome.
That would be nuts. So I was going to ask Quez to race, but he ended up leaving. He was ill.
Yeah.
He would have smoked my ass. So it just would have been funny.
Now, do you think he's the guy they got to have as the number 3 wide receiver?
I think, he has a role, and, that you can call it number 3. But Zach Pascal also, 3A, 3B. I think, and Reagor, if he can step it up and isn't traded, that is 3 guys that all can do certain things. That it's like Quez is a deep burner. He can definitely do other things. He's working on those things. Zach Pascal, your possession guy who can really block well and do a lot of things, really, I think people sleep on. And then Reagor, he's a first-round talent for a reason. I know he's got a lot up here going on, but if he could get that talent that we've seen at TCU, holy shit, all 3 of those guys behind AJ and Devontae, they all could have a certain role in certain plays with certain, whatever. They can all have playbooks. Just, okay, here are the plays for these 3. Here's the play for these 3. And Devontae and AJ just running with somebody different each time. And I think Quez is going to probably see the most snaps out of those other 2 guys I had mentioned between Pascal and Reagor. But I think they're all going to, if they keep playing the way they are and fit into this offense, we're going to see a healthy handful of all of them.
Absolutely. I agree. The thing when I watch Reagor, I think it's so mental because he obviously has the ability to play, but it seems like to me he's always like thinking or trying to figure out what he's going to do next. He kind of plays slow, but if you look at the plays where he has positive plays, it's like he fumbles a punt. He has to pick it up. He doesn't have time to think. A short punt, he has to run up to it. He can't think about it. Quick wide receiver screen, doesn't think about it. Then he's fine. He's very explosive. So I think if he get his mind right, I think he can play,
I'm with you. And, I always say for a lot of positions, but receivers, especially because I played it, but it's like I've watched them like a hawk since I was a kid because of that. So it's like I give them, and I'm not saying I played at any high level. I'm just saying I love that position. So I always watch it. But wide receiver, I try to give guys 3 years because it is a really hard position to learn. And a lot of these guys, they have it pretty easy in college. And he went to TCU where, dude, I think he could still do a lot of the things, and he has shown it. And you said it, bang, bang, where he's not thinking, and it's mental to me. So I agree 100% with you, dude.
Yeah. Ark Make Peace, member for 8 months of Dingbat Nation. Thank you, buddy. He says, I see us with at least 10 wins winning the division. I think we're winning the division. I mean, there's no question about it.
Well, we won 9 last year, so you see all the people you added. You tell yourself, I think that team adding those players could be a 3+ more win team? I do. I think they could at least win 12. I literally said they could win 14 games. People are like, what the And dude, I'm dead ass serious. I think that this team, if they have the Lions, which is a great tune-up game, Then you got the Vikings, which is a tough task, but Kirk Cousins sucks at prime time. So we're going to hope that Dalvin Cook doesn't tear us up and Justin Jefferson, but let's go out, whoop some ass. I think this team is about to surprise a lot of people.
Well, I've said this before. When I look, like, if you look at last year's schedule, Kansas City, Tampa, like, there were games where I was like, I don't think they can win this game. I look at this schedule. Nobody scares me. Nobody really scares me at all. So I think they've got a much easier schedule than they did a year ago. You know?
Sure. Yep.
I do. Marcus,
no
thank you for
Devontae
super
Adams.
chat. No Devontae Adams.
That Packers game looks much easier. The Titans don't have A.J. Brown. I mean,
yeah, that we're winning that game. We're winning that game. We're winning that game. Marcus, thank you for super chat. Everybody describe the Philly 500's OnlyFans. Yeah, he be twerking his mother's, but yeah, subscribe to my OnlyFans. You want the squat cobblers? I got it for you. It's crazy. People are crazy.
That's great.
So let me move over to the defense now, because this I kind of wanted to get your thoughts on this. Sure. Jonathan Gannon kind of came out and he said the other day, Hassan Reddick is going to drop back in coverage. A lot of people flipped out about that.
They did.
Now, I expect it on some level, but how much do you think this guy should be dropping into coverage and should be attacking? Quarterback.
I love that you brought this up. I did my best for months to try to really just get the information out there that we desperately needed to add a Sam linebacker, and that specifically being Hassan Reddick because of his skill set. Now, what they tried to do with Jannard Avery last year is just not in Jannard Avery's skill set. Best of luck to you in Pittsburgh, but dude. So when you look at a 3-4 defense and you look at what a Sam linebacker is supposed to do on the strong side, you know, and the strong side is the side with the tight end for anybody out there that doesn't know. So wherever the tight end's lining up, that's the side he's going to. So now what you have here is a guy that is standing up in 3-4. Okay, that's your base defense. You've got Jordan Davis in the middle, Fletcher Cox, Javon Hargrave on each side, Sweat as the weak side outside linebacker, and then Reddick. So you've got those 5 right there. And if they put their hands in the dirt, it becomes a 5-2. So real simple, but I've tried to explain the multiple schemes Jonathan Gannon ran, and I try to explain why he needed a nose tackle, a Sam linebacker, the corner, the safety, all that stuff. But we talked about it. Hassan Reddick was the must-have, and Jordan Davis, because we have no nose tackle. So the reason we talk about that is, I mentioned earlier in the show, 31st in the league, only 29 sacks. That's unacceptable, dude. We won the Super Bowl with a rotation. So we needed to go out and get a rotation. Now, first thing you need to do was a nose tackle, an anchor in the middle. He's going to feast. Fletcher Cox, Javon Hargrave don't have to play out of position anymore. They can play 3 technique, 5 technique. They can do a lot of things that I think that people are in for a wild surprise when they keep saying, oh, this guy's going to play over this guy. They're going to play next to each other. And big things are going to happen. But Hassan Reddick, one of the things, you know, as a Sam linebacker, you have to be able to do is when Jonathan Gannon is throwing all of these disguises out there and trying to trick the offense, they don't know if Hassan Reddick is dropping into coverage or pass rushing. So this guy has 23 and a half sacks, I believe, in the last 2 years. Pass rushing machine. So this dude, he's a weapon, as he said. He's going to go out there and, dude, he's going to, I would say 90%, 95% of the time, he's going to be going after that quarterback. But when a defense knows, okay, this dude has a skill set. He started in Arizona as a middle linebacker in a 3-4. So this dude has the skill set to go out and cover people, but he is obviously in Carolina, he was used correctly and he had 23 and a half sacks. So I think the Eagles, this is a dream matchup for both of them. I think we are going to really use his skill set well. And, you know, people freaked out like, oh my God, but it's like, you would rather that than Jannard Avery dropping into coverage the few times he did, because that guy can't cover, you know, shit. So really, this is a huge upgrade. This is not anything out of the ordinary. And I was trying to warn people because I knew when they found out they were going to flip the hell out. And I have so many videos on the multiple schemes, the front 7 as a whole. I didn't want to break down the D line because it's like you got defensive tackles, nose tackles, you got just edge rushers, defensive ends, outside linebackers, middle linebackers. Dude, it's so fun to break it all down. And the different schemes, different guys are called different roles. And all they got to do is take a step over or put their hand in the dirt. And all these things, having that versatility, it's each week. You could be a 3-4 predominantly. You could be a 3-3-5. You could be a 4-3, a 4-2-5 because of the matchup. Does this team play a lot of 12, 13 personnel? Do they use a lot of receivers? And now I'm dropping into a lot more nickel and dime. So you look at the matchups, and that's what Jonathan Gannon wanted to do. He wanted to accentuate the skill sets of his players, and now he's got players with a lot of skills. So go out and do that, Jonathan Gannon, please, for the love of God.
I like the idea, that you can be able to go from a 4-3 to 3-4 to 3-3-5. I like the idea to do that, because then you can look at whoever you're playing, like you said, and match up perfectly with them. And for all those, he said 90 to 95% of the time, Reddick is going to rush the passer, which I think that's about right. 10% of the time, he drops back. That would make sense to me. No question about it. Now, Jordan Davis, that was a monster pick. One, you're right. We had no nose tackle at all. But, I mean, dude, the best defensive tackle I've seen on the Eagles was Jerome Brown. I think that from a physical ability standpoint, he has that ceiling. He's going to have to do it. He's going to have to make sure he's in shape and all those things. But the sky's the limit for Jordan Davis, is it not?
Dude, so I set out, like I said, this all season to talk about the things we had to have. And the biggest one was, I told you, in free agency, Reddick, and in the draft, it had to be Jordan Davis. And that morning, I remember Lane Johnson made a post like, who we taking, Eagles? And I put Jordan Davis in front of the marching band, like going like this. And I was just trying to speak it into existence. I've done it 4 years in a row now. And it was like, we're getting this guy. I don't give a shit. And this guy, what he does is he's a zero shade, one technique. This guy can line up over the center, the guard, but he feasts on people. He's taking on 2-3 guys at the same time. That's allowing Fletch, Javon to play that defensive end in a 3-4, 3-3-5, whatever the hell you're doing with the odd front base. But, you have, like you said, the ability to adjust. And if Jordan Davis wants to come out, well, then Hargrave and Cox are just your defensive tackles. And then you got guys that go right to defensive end. You could be a 4-3, 4-2, whatever you want to do. So having that versatility, I don't think people realize how scary it's going to be for offenses, because they have no idea. Even if they line up like that, doesn't mean that's what they're running on that play. So they can drop and they can do whatever they want. And dude, that gets me really excited, because the game's changing, man, and you got to stay with it. And Jonathan Gannon, when we hired him, I thought, hey, this is a bright mind. He's learned from some of the greats, and Greg Williams, Matt Eberflus, dude, Mike Zimmer obviously is one of his guys. And I think this dude is really going to grow and do something special. I think this is his last year here, because it was already almost his last year, and he had a bad year. So
that's what I said. I did a video on that last week. I said, Jonathan Gannon is, if he's great, he's gone. If he's bad, he's gone.
Someone just said that. I think you talked to whoever I talked to, because they were like, someone told me, and I was like, that's a great point. That's a great point.
Yeah, I mean, because he almost got the Houston job, right? Yep. I don't remember if he intervied in Denver or not. But
they were interested in him. The GM apparently was blown away by him, how smart he was.
So if he comes out and they do a good job this year, he's gone. We're back to back to the drawing board. But I do like the idea of I guess you call it a hybrid, where you can adjust to the offense. I think that's so important. Like, you have to have good coaches that can look at their roster and make it work and use the best ability of the players. I don't like when coaches try to force guys to do things they can't do. You know what I mean?
That was happening last year.
Yeah.
And so I get what you were saying at the beginning of the show.
That,
it's like, what are you doing?
Me.
But this year you got the nose tackle in the Sam, and that just allows everybody else to finally do what they're supposed to do. You don't have to use Cox as a nose tackle. That is the dumbest shit. So it's like, this guy gets to feast. And you had said about Jordan Davis, he came into shape. He wanted to be around 310, 315. He did that. I watched him in person. I made it a point to walk. First off, Jason Kelsey is a unicorn, because watching him against Jordan Davis, it was like, what the and he's holding his own. But Jordan Davis today beat him. But he's going against one of the best. So iron sharpens iron. But this dude, looking at him in person, I was like, this ain't real, because I've seen Fletcher Cox in person, and I'm looking at this guy. And now, sure, Jordan Mailata and stuff is like 6'9", but when you're looking at a defensive tackle that is that weight, and now he's a nose tackle, but this guy, my Lord, the way he was rushing to the quarterback, getting behind the line, people say he can't. No, he just stands there and block. No, he doesn't. He doesn't eat up blocks. This guy can create pressure, and that allows, the linebackers behind him, Nakobe Dean, Kaiser White, TJ Edwards, whoever, to hit the gaps. We're going to get pressure this year. So Jordan Davis was it's 1A, 1B for me with Reddick and him, but they were both just as important to finding success in this team.
I saw a picture today of Jordan Davis standing next to Hassan Reddick, and he cowered him. It was ridiculous. I'm like, oh my gosh, this dude must be so big in person. You know what I mean? No wonder.
Did you see the one of him next to Fletch?
Yeah, I saw that one too.
That's what really makes. I was like, oh my God, like what is this, man?
Yeah, my only fear with him is that the weight's a problem. Like he's got to be on that, and he's got to be he's got to be motivated. And if he is,
he lost like 15 pounds now, so that's nuts.
He was
already
like 330, 225. That's where I think he needs to play at. Yeah, I think
he wanted to lose a little and be around the 320ish. So I think he's around like 315, 310ish now, and he's trying to work it all out, But I think he's finding that quickness he needs, and then he's going to add back on the muscle, and that is trouble for others because he's just going to be faster, quicker, stronger, and holy shit.
Yeah, I'm excited to watch him play. We got about 270 people in the chat. If you guys haven't, make sure you click the link in the description. Go sub up my man. You will not be disappointed. I promise you. He is fantastic. Definitely go sub him up. All right, let me talk about linebackers real quick. Because it looks like TJ Edwards is having one hell of a camp. And I feel like he's kind of the forgotten man. At least I think I kind of slept on him a little bit. Not because I didn't like him, but because you get Kaiser White, you get Kobe Dean, and you're thinking about all these other guys. And here he comes out in camp, and he's having a fantastic camp so far. You think he will hold that starting job down?
I had made some graphics. We were talking about the videos I made with the multiple schemes. So I made graphics so people could see what it actually looks like. I didn't just talk about it. I showed who the players were going to be. And in the one, in 3-4, I had Dean and White. Now I try to use different players for different schemes just to show other people could come in and start. Yeah. And you know how people take that, like, this guy's supposed to be starting. And then the other picture, all they had to do was scroll to the next one, and TJ Edwards is starting. So, and then some people found that offensive. Why is he starting? And it was like, Jesus Christ. So I tried to break it down, and I did a positional breakdown of each single position and went through all the players, all their roles, and who I thought would make the team. And TJ Edwards is that one guy that pops up that I think, you have to call him a starter. By the end of the year, I think Kaiser White and Nakobe Dean see more snaps. It's more of a passing league, and I think they are better. Nakobe Dean needs a lot of work there, but I think he'll get there. It'll be fine. But TJ Edwards killing it right now and proving I need to be here, getting a lot of snaps. So those three are going to see a lot of snaps. You'll see a little bit of 4-3, not much. We didn't run it much last year. We were 41% of the time, I think it was, we ran nickel. 28% of the time we ran a 3-3-5, and then 21% of the time we ran our base defense 3-4. But you will see a lot more of the odd fronts now that we added those other players. But those linebackers, they fit in certain schemes. And I think Edwards, he's making it hard. And for me, I had us keeping 7 total because people consider the Sam linebackers. 2 for me. I think Kyron Johnson beats out Patrick. He's the same guy. He started as a middle linebacker, played defensive end. He's got that skill set. So I think he backs up Hassan. But then those middle linebackers, not the Sam linebackers, I think we're talking about Dean and White, obviously, that we added. And I hear what you're saying. You're so excited about the other two. It's easy to forget. But TJ Edwards, he solidified his role. Those 3 definitely. But beyond that, Davion Taylor was doing great last year. I thought that if he stayed healthy, he was definitely your nickel linebacker. And then you have Sean Bradley, who special teams ace, who provides great depth at linebacker. I think you got to keep all 5 of them. Maybe not Bradley, but Bradley has been looking decent too. So how fun is it, bro, that we are literally sitting here talking about the linebacking courts being exciting and having depth?
I can't remember. It's a long time since I've been excited about the linebackers. I mean, a long time. And I'm talking before Trotter. I mean, when they had Trotter, Evans, I would go back Seth Joyner, Byron Evans,
Simmons.
Those guys were beasts. This is exciting, an exciting unit, no question about it. Now, I'm going to ask you this. What are a couple things that worry you about this team going into the year? What are your things that worry you?
One thing that worries me is the health of this offensive line. I just pray to the football gods that they allow us to stay healthy, because it was great, that people got hurt the last few years and these young guys were able. It wasn't great they were hurt. I'm saying it was great that the young men were able to step in and show us, hey, we've got something. So we found some diamonds in the rough. It's fantastic, but I just want us to stay healthy. That scares the living hell out of me. Some of them getting a little bit older, but hey, that's why we brought the replacements in. We've got some good depth. So I feel good about our depth. I just hope we stay healthy, because if our line stays healthy, magical magical things are going to
Oh,
happen.
Oh, yeah.
Reagor would be something I would really love to see him pan out. And then defense, man, most people would say, Jonathan, I think Gannon's going to have a good year. And I know it's just on paper right now, but this is literally what we needed. I mapped it out before it happened. So I'm not just saying it because it did. You know what I mean? I felt these were the pieces that fit, and they added them. And it's like, bro, if these guys really, and I saw them in camp, it's just their first couple practices together. They're already looking like brothers out there. That's a big piece of it.
Yeah.
They're bonding, and it's like on and off the field. That's going to help them grow. So we're hoping on the field, that it's not just great on paper. So we want to grow, get better, develop this whole team. But bro, I honestly, this team's going to be awesome. I think that with all of the health and stuff though, so that worries me. But I guess special teams. I don't know. Aaron Sipos, look, I love our kicker. I love our long snapper. The return game, at least we brought in competition with Allen and Covey and all those guys. We even have Kenny Gainwell back there at times, Quez Watkins. So people are trying out. Love that. Punter, you did not bring a single person in to compete with Aaron Sipos, just like last year. No. And he started the year, thankfully, good. And we were like, oh, okay, thank God. And then he started sucking ass. And you're like,
real bad.
Again. So now you don't bring anyone in. And I heard, and I was asking because I was like, nobody's even talking about this dude. Like, where is he? Like, he was just literally holding cones for people. He wasn't even punting. I'm like, what the? So I found out he's been doing decent. He's actually been doing pretty well. His hang time is definitely much higher than what it was. So we're going to hope that he gets better, because that was one that definitely concerned me, my man.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I definitely, punter's easy to forget about too,
Yeah.
Jay Koch says, I said 100 times before, Jordan Davis wasn't making it past. I agree. I don't think he was making it past.
That's that kind of guy, right?
No, yeah. Oh God, he was.
That's Calais Campbell reinvented, and just
That's why when people were upset we trade up, I'm like, yeah, you had to.
Thank God.
You had to. You were going to lose them. There's a couple of positions I worry about. Obviously, a returner, right? I'm so sick of watching Greg Ward Jr. catch it or 2 yards, right? I mean, we haven't had a returner since Sproles. The running back situation, I like the guys we have. I just think you need a complementary piece. Like, I would like a bigger back.
You want Jordan Howard back, don't you? That's what you want.
I do. I kind of do. But I just don't want him to get hurt again. He's always hurt.
So I think with what you're looking at here, man, and I 100% agree with you. Kennedy Brooks there, it's like, why
I'm hoping
doesn't he have any competition here? For me, it's Jordan Howard, dude. You just said it. He could get banged up. So let the dude stay healthy, and then you bring him back. If it's dire need week 1 and 2, you bring him in. But I think the Eagles, they're always looking at that money. So one of the things that happens is if you have a veteran like that on your roster week 1, 100% of their minimum salary is guaranteed if they're on that roster. Now, if they're on that roster after week 2, then they only have 25% of that contract guaranteed. So that's why you see the Eagles pulling some of those moves with the veterans a couple weeks in, like Richard Rodgers. So trying to save that chump change, but hey, Howie's a magician with that stuff. So I'm with you. I think it's nice to have a goal line back. I know they feel, like Miles and Kenny and Boston all run hard. It's like, that's great. I know they do, but I hear you. I want to see, and look, I saw Kennedy Brooks the other day run.
That's
blanket
the guy.
chip over.
He's one of my guys that I'm going to be like this.
I was watching, but it was third team, so I kept it, grain of salt wise. I was like, okay, but it was nice to see. So I agree with you. I think you have Boston Scott, and he's Mr. Dependable, but it's like, look, you've got Miles and Kenny, kind of all three of them of the same mold, but it's like, where's the power back? So I agree with you, man. They're 100% on that one.
Yeah. The other position is the second tight end. I'm not sold on tight end number 2. Stoll, we'll see. Richard Rodgers, I like him, but he's like Jordan Howard. He gets hurt a lot. You got Tyree Jackson, who's coming back from an injury. I would just like to stash him and let him learn a whole nother year. And then Cal Sateta, how do you pronounce his name? I can never do it right. He's hurt, so I don't know what to expect from him. And I just wonder if they need another tight end just in case.
That's a great point. One of those things, I told you, I broke down every single position, and that's one of the ones I looked at where, they moved Arcega-Whiteside over there. They brought Togi back last year, and just, last week they brought Jaden Graham in from the Falcons because of, you mentioned it, Tyree Jackson on the PUP list. Richard Rodgers was on the PUP list last night. They activated him, so some more competition there, thankfully. But beyond that, Goddard's making the team. He is your Y tight end.
Yeah.
In my opinion, Jack Stoll is making the team. He provides that H-back role,
Yeah.
not a fullback that can inline block, but he's more of that guy that can block for you, do a lot of things. You can move around. So for me, it was at the time when I made that video a couple weeks ago before training camp, Grant Calcaterra is making this team as that F-type tight end. He's the one that's your receiving type tight end, just like Zach Ertz. So you've got 3 guys that all play different tight end roles. I think that's perfect. Love it. Only problem is Grant Calcaterra gets hurt a few days ago. Now he's dealing with this hamstring injury. Hasn't been back. We haven't heard the severity of it, but Richard Rodgers is back. So you mentioned it. He's Mr. Dependable. He can play your F-type tight end. He can play that H-back role, all kinds of – he has learned in his 9 years how to get better at blocking, receive, all that stuff. So if Calcaterra, it needs to be stashed on PUP or something, that's unfortunate. I think Richard Rodgers just takes his place. But beyond that, I think those are, the 3 you're going to see if Calcaterra can make it back. Calcaterra, Stoll, and Goddard. But I think Arthega-Whiteside and Togi, I like him, but I think he'll be on the practice squad if somebody doesn't take him.
And you think they stashed Jackson?
Oh, definitely. And my thought process was, I said, don't be surprised when you see him get tossed on the PUP list because he's not going to be ready for this camp. You don't want him to get hurt. So I saw him walking around, dude. This dude is a giant, 6'7", but he's got this knee brace on, and it's like, okay, if he's still wearing that brace, that means, he's taking it easy. And what you just said right there, this dude could have a bright future. He just learned the tight end position a couple years ago. So we're looking at a 6'7" dude that can play that receiving role and then some, go up and get it. And it's like, imagine him, Goddard and Calcaterra or Stoll.
I know that's exactly what I'm. That's like New England, I say stash him and let him learn.
If you put him on PUP, and you don't have to put him on the IR where he has to sit off, what you do is you keep him on PUP because he's on there right now. And what that means is when the season starts, he just has to miss the first 6 games. So you reevaluate, and after those 6 games, you decide whether you're going to put him on season-ending IR or he has like 3 weeks to come back and play. So I think at that time you see, it's not worth the risk. These guys are doing well. Maybe you need a tight end. Calcaterra's banged up. Let's get his ass back out there. But I'm with you. I think the kid's got a bright future here.
Oh, God. Yeah, he's got to stay. They got to keep him. Cruising 26. Big Blue is sweeping Philadelphia Bulls. Dude, you say that every year. Your team stinks. You got Daniel Jones, dude. I'm sorry. I actually like some of the things the Giants did, but you're a few years away.
Still the Giants,
yeah, exactly. No, exactly. It's going to be fascinating. If you guys have any questions for my man Jimmy Smith, put it in the chat, and we'll try to answer these real quick. And once again, click the link in the description and go sub them up. We got over 270 people in the chat, so definitely do that. Now let's talk about division. I don't know if you like doing predictions or anything. I always like to talk about this. How do you kind of see this division panning out right now?
Woo! Another barn burner, baby. And, people talk about NFC least. It's like, we have the most Super Bowls. And look, the Eagles only have one of them. I know. People want to remind you. But it's like, this is a tough division because it's always battles to the death. And I love it, man. Every year, you could have the best roster. That team could have the shittiest. You never know who's going to win. It does not matter. I love it. But we've got Captain Commander Quitter over in Washington. You've got Daniel Jones in New York, and then Dak just lost. Obviously, they traded Cooper, and now James Washington gets hurt. So I think, the Eagles have a real good chance to step it up and make it another year where there's not a back-to-back division winner. I think this team, if they start gelling, they could be a Super Bowl contender, honestly. And I think the Cowboys, they're going to be good. They have firepower on offense. They got their defense a little better. I think the Giants, they bolstered a lot of their positions where they had, a lot of holes. I thought they did well, but still have Daniel Jones. And Saquon Barkley needs to stay healthy. So we'll see how your receivers, if they can even play a game. So health is a big one for them. But then you got Washington. The first sign of adversity, your quarterback's going to quit. The dude's already throwing interceptions every day. So best of luck to you. But I think the Eagles, they can go out, and it's going to be tough matchups. I'm not saying we can go out and sweep them, but I think we have the roster it's the ability to go back and do that like we used to do back in the day. Go take charge of this NFC East like back when I was in high school, whoop some ass, and then we'll find out what we can do in the playoffs.
Yeah. Eschewing David Super Chat, Big Blue going to be sweeping our stadium floor. Right. Absolutely. No doubt about it. I got to tell you, I have Washington finishing second and Dallas finishing third. I think Dallas offensively, especially their passing game, I think it took a big step back. I'm not a fan of Elliott. I think he's getting worse each year. I like Pollard though.
Yeah,
I think
Pollard's
they lost.
good.
I think they lost some on their offensive line. I think their defense will be good, but I think they're going to take. I think they're going to be third place team, and Washington. I like their roster. I'm not going to lie. I mean, you look at that defensive line; they're healthy.
I couldn't believe they struggled last year.
Yeah, well, they were really banged up. I mean, they had a lot of guys.
But that line, you would think, they should still be able to do things. I was surprised last year, but you're right, man. Stacked. Curtis Samuel stays healthy. They got some weapons.
And if Carson can be like he was, the last 6 games of the 2019 season before he had the concussion in Seattle, they could be they can finish in second place. They can't beat us.
Bro, if I had the legs I had back in 03, I'd be
right.
But we can't
well,
go in the
true.
past.
That's true. I mean, he did throw 27 touchdowns, though.
No,
I don't know
still
what
got talent.
Think, of course.
He's still got talent, man. I think it's up here for him. So
yeah. But this is his last stand. So if this don't work out for him,
for the Colts to trade him like that told you there was something because the kid's talented, man. So
that's weird.
What?
I've never seen that. I've never seen it. You pay a first-round pick for a guy.
They had people moving and shit, and this dude, they didn't even get moved in yet, and this dude's gone. It was like, holy shit.
And the guy threw 27 touchdowns and 7 interceptions last year. So it wasn't like he was complete trash. I know the Jacksonville game was bad.
That's crazy. It's when the pressure is on, right? And that's what matters. And I think that's his thing.
Yeah, and a lot of people to this day will say, if Carson Wentz doesn't get hurt, we choke in the playoffs. Probably. A lot of people think that. Yeah,
that was destiny. That's how it was supposed to happen. Carson was supposed to get us there because Nick can't play a full season. And Nick took us to the promised land, dude.
Well,
that's how I've always looked at it. Can't do it without either of them.
You couldn't write a better script.
Dog, I was on my deathbed and then created On the Road to Victory that year. And my whole purpose was just to try to bring hope. And, you know me, I try to break things down at a football level. And it was just, look, this is why Nick Foles is the perfect backup. You and I are the same. I loved him. So I was like, look, this guy, if anything were to happen to Carson, this is the backup to have. He came from Doug Peterson, in the Chiefs. They came together. This is why he's here. We all remember him. Dude. And, got a lot of hate. Mike Missinelli hung up on me. I called in the radio station to tell him we'd beat the Falcons because I was there at the game.
Yeah.
And, dude, I had just literally beaten death. I wasn't supposed to be out in the cold. It was the most cold game I've ever, coldest damn thing it was ever to my soul. But it was worth every second watching Jalen Mills beating Julio Jones in the back of that corner. And then we went on to those next couple games. We know we win the Super Bowl. After that, I thought, this is effing destiny for me, baby. But dude, that's what it's all about for me, and all of you fans out there and meeting someone like you. It's like, this is what I love, man. Cause we all have our cool stories. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, what a year to start my freaking brand.
And, that's awesome, man. That's great. Yeah. That's a crazy story. JB, David Super Chat, he says, are you all comfortable at our safety position? Good question. What do you think about the safety position?
Oh, man. That was something I stressed earlier in this offseason. Everybody, I want Tyrann Mathieu. And I would have been very happy with Tyrann Mathieu. And look, we have the money. We have all the capital, everything we need to do. If we want Jesse Bates, we could. Well, I don't know if the Bengals are willing or what. But, dude, I would take that risk for the 1 year and I would do that.
Give it time.
Exactly. And that's what I keep telling people. Patience, ladies and gentlemen. Yep. And I think people seem to forget that Super Bowl year. It was very, slow, drawn out process that offseason. And then you traded for Ajayi in the season. So it's like, be patient. But for me, I had said, look, if it's just Marcus Epps and Anthony Harris, I like Epps more than most people. And I think, I would be very questionable. That's definitely our biggest question mark, but I'd be okay. Now, Kayvon needs to step it up. Big fan of Andre Sacheret. He can play nickel, free safety, helps on special teams. But I would add a safety. And I specifically said Jaquiski Tartt because people think he's just a strong safety. This is a guy that can play free safety. Actually, since 2019, he is third among safeties in coverage. Yeah. So this guy brings that versatile skill set where if Epps is your free safety, Harris is your strong safety or whatever, he can spell either one. You want to play a 3 safety set, he comes in. But now you allow yourself not to forcefully throw in Kayvon Wallace, Andre Sacheret. You allow them to keep growing and you learn. Now you at least have some depth there. So we have 3 starting caliber safeties in Epps, Harris, and Tartt. So I feel much more comfortable than I did without Tartt. But don't get me wrong, Andrew. I've made a video. If you have subscribed to my channel, make sure you go find that one. Jesse Bates. Did the Eagles have the cap? I show you all the picks, all the money we have. We can, and it could definitely happen. Stay patient.
I think you let Cincinnati dig their heels in, you let him dig it in, and then at the trade deadline you try to make your move. That's what I think, And at that point, hopefully you'll know whether Hurts is the guy or not. You're gonna need your draft picks. All right, no, I think he's the guy. Let's do it. Let's make this move and go for it. I would love to get Bates. Andrew says, Jimmy, is it possible you and Philly 500 get together on a regular basis? I'm definitely open. Definitely gonna have him on again. No question about it. No question about it.
And Andrew, I appreciate that, man. Yeah, and I'm having a great time, dude. I was so excited when you reached out. I was like, yeah, dude, so pumped to come on, dude. I love your work, man. So this is awesome.
Yeah. Oh, I appreciate it. I love your work too, man. It's awesome. We'll go for another couple minutes because I know you have to get out of here soon, and I do too. So yeah. But if you guys haven't, definitely click the link in the description. Go sub them up. Do you think Tart ends up being a starter this year?
Oh, that's such a great question.
Because I think he's going to be starting at some point.
I think, and I'd put it as Tart and Harris as the starters. Allow Epps another year, and I think it wouldn't even take a year. I think with it mid-year, he could probably take over one of those spots. But I think for me, you got two veteran guys that you feel comfortable, and both in their careers have played free safety and strong safety. So I feel comfortable, and it's all like we had talked about earlier in the show. It's based on matchups. What team are you playing? Who do they got at tight end? Which side are they lining up on? So, we play predominantly that zone 2 high shell where you got two safeties sitting back there. So really going to come down to, what the play calling is. But the way I said it was, I think all three of them are going to get their fair share of snaps. But by the end of the year, I wouldn't be surprised if Epps and Tart didn't really take a lot of snaps from Harris, because I think everyone just assumes he's going to get the most. And he's going to be the leader here. But I really think those guys are going to excite some people.
Yeah.
Especially Tart, the way he can hit people. I saw someone say about blitzing. Dude, you can send him after the quarterback, but I know he missed an interception, and that's what people lose their minds
over. That's what everybody thinks about. That's what
one play, dude. If one play made everyone, then we'd all be screwed.
I say at least he was in position.
Exactly, man. They all make mistakes, dude.
Yeah. I mean, geez, it happens.
Hopefully he's got a chip on his shoulder now,
Yeah. Yeah, I love it. I love it. And one other guy I want to mention before we get out of here that I didn't talk about was Bradbury, because by a lot of accounts, he has looked like maybe one of the standout top 3 guys at camp so far. Yeah. What are your thoughts on him?
I'd mentioned earlier about, doing how he did to the receivers, having that complement of, the big bodied guy and the more finesse guy. Well, now you did that on defense too with Bradbury and Slay. And one of the things I emphasized a couple months before that move happened was you need to go get James Bradbury, because his $21 million cap hit is not going to be paid by the Giants. Yeah. They will trade his ass or cut him. Well, they ended up cutting him. And I remember making like an ass load of show and just resharing some of the shows I already made. And I was like, Eagles, I swear to God, you better go get him. If this dude comes on the roster, we could be Super Bowl contenders, because now you've got these tough receivers that really give Darius Slay a hard time, and they're making him work against AJ Brown this year. I love that they are. It's not going to be that way in games. They just want, just in case, Darius Slay, but he'll take on more of the finesse guys. He's the big play guy. It's perfect, dude. So James Bradbury, when I watched him, dude, and not only did when he was at camp, I was watching him like a hawk. Dude, he was throwing people around, breaking up passes. He was badass. But at the end of practice, he had his equipment off, dude, and he was jacked, just like AJ Brown. I was like, yes. Yeah, two tough guys on each side.
Totally. I did videos on this. I totally agree with everything you just said about Bradbury. I think it was such a steal, man.
Yes, a must-have move. I can't believe it happened.
Me neither. But I had a feeling it was going to happen. But it just made too much sense. It's showing David Super Chat says Super Bowl Eagles versus Bills. That'll be pretty good. I'll take it. Let's do it.
My best friend's a Bills fan. We would be burning the world down making it to that game, dude. That would be
great. That'd be great.
Well,
listen, man, I want to thank you for coming on. I appreciate it. If you guys haven't, make sure you click the link in the description. Go sub them up. You won't regret it. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. Anything you want to say on the way out, man?
Yeah, I just want to say thank you to you for having me on. This was awesome, and I cannot wait to do it again. Thank you to all of your followers and anybody who is my follower that tune in. Make sure you are subscribing to this man's channel, putting out great content, getting fired up. And once the season comes, we're going to be putting out even more great content and definitely together. So I look forward to that next time. I look forward to meeting some of you who found me through here. But this has been awesome. Let's get excited for this season. But yeah, man, everybody stay safe out there. And of course,
Go Birds!
Go Birds! Absolutely. Thank you so much for coming on, and we're gonna let the Dallas Cowboys take us out here because they choke and they stink, and everybody wants to see it. So, thank you guys for joining us. Take care. Talk to you, of course, later, and don't be a dingbat. All right, Mark Holmes, take us out.
Time for one more play. We had one more.
Yo, you gotta be motherfucking kidding
You gotta be kidding me. We have no time for one more play.
Look at this motherfucker
What are you doing?
running from
What are you doing?
To get off the field on third down.
What was that bullshit?
That is not right.
Kellen Moore, he's got to be better, man. He wasn't.
Oh, that's some bullshit. What was that? We had enough time for one more
We
play.
had an opportunity to win that game at the end.
But the referee screwed us.
Way, but, you know, this is just
The brother screwed us.
upset, but
The brother screwed
it is what it
us.
is, man.
At least they fought back and tried.
Only Cowboys games.
Yeah, you
The brother
literally.
screwed us. The brother screwed us.